The Avenue, or welcome to my page, Eating Orgasmically with Jasmine. So you're all wondering why I set up this page. Well, I'm setting up this page because there are folks that have probably never been to Perry and are probably intimidated by the food or what they hear and all the stereotypes about going to restaurants in Perry, which, some could be true and most of the time it's not. It all depends on, what you know ahead of time. So just to give you guys all a little bit of background, about 11 years ago, I blindly went to Perry, although I had been to the south of France before, probably back in 2007. Well, I blindly went to France during the holiday, which was Christmas, because I was all alone, and my family lives in another state that is primarily really, really cold throughout the year, and I decided I would take this trip on my own. So I get there, I land in the Latin Quarter, which has awesome food, but I did not know where to go. I didn't know how to speak the language. I got lost more than a couple of times, so thank God I had money on me because I didn't know how to take the metro. I didn't know how to take a taxi. I just knew, just show up and you can figure it out, and maybe ask the hotel for, directions. So I land on Christmas Day. A lot of restaurants were open, a lot of them weren't, but I find a restaurant and I arrive and the first thing she says is bonsoir, and I'm like, blank. And she's like, okay, this person's obviously an American, so she gives me a menu, and she gives me a menu that has English because she knows at this point, that I'm by myself, and so she goes, oh, like she really, really felt sorry for me, and I didn't feel sorry for myself because I honestly, even after just landing, was having the time of my life. So this was during a time there were no Ubers. You could only use Super Shuttle, which was like crazy because that's why I ended up getting there as late as I did. So I get to this restaurant and I order fish because I think, fish, you can't go wrong. I had it in the south of France. It was prepared amazingly. And she hands me this knife-looking thing, but it really wasn't a knife. It looked like you butter your bread with it. And she walks up to me and she's like, no, this is for your fish, but she didn't really say it she didn't say it in English. Obviously, I could not understand, but she goes, la, like she's showing me, like, this is how you use it. You use it for your fish. I swear, I felt like I had no manners. So after this amazing fish that I had, which I still don't remember, I probably do have pictures of that meal. I get this beautiful, dessert that has chocolate oozing out of it, and I'm just like, oh, that was just satisfying. So I get up the next day and I'm wandering around. I ask the hotel where to go, and they're just like, anywhere, there's a boulangerie, there's a patisserie, just find something. I'm like, all right, great. So I go out and of course, the first thing I want to try is a croissant, because I'm hearing American croissants are terrible, they're gooey, they're doughy. Oh, they are. They're terrible and they're gooey and they're doughy, and I don't know, they just taste like bread. So I get a croissant, and I don't remember for some reason having this in the south of France, but I get a croissant and I bite into it, and of course it's buttery, it's flaky, it's everything that you have heard and imagined, and it was great. So then I'm like, where do I go to eat? I didn't have a computer on me. My cell phone kind of didn't work. It didn't have reception unless I was in the hotel. So every night what I would do is I would go on TripAdvisors, and now mind you, I'm not getting paid by TripAdvisors or anything like that. I go on TripAdvisors, I'm looking at restaurants, and I'm just like, oh gosh, I don't know where to eat. Let me make reservations. Let me see if I can get in there. And of course, I don't speak the language. So I don't even think this existed at the time, but as a tip, you need to download the Fork or La Fourchette app so that you can get reservations, and then it can basically relieve you of any troubles that you're going to have as far as making reservations, because there are some restaurants where if you show up, you're not going to get in.